Welcome to the first required video for this course. The topic of this video is learning preferences. Your goal is to think about and understand how you learn, to reflect on the results of the assessments you did. What are the triggers that help you to learn, and what do you need to do that results in learning? You take a number of surveys to help you understand your learning preferences. So let's get started. Your learning experience may tell you, 1, the greater the amount of time studying, the more successful you will be. Yeah, but how many times have you actually gotten the same grade even though you spent more time studying? 2, memorization of isolated facts is the key to be successful on tests. But how many of you have gotten into an exam and forgotten or confused the facts? Boy, that's happened to me. 3, multitasking is a skill that allows you to learn efficiently. Since you've always studied with your music on, why question if you could now do it in less time with the music off? Now there's a scary thought. 4, all you need to know is your learning style and you will learn. Well, just because you know your learning preferences doesn't mean you understand how to use that information. And 5, finally, if you're motivated, then you will learn. Each semester I used to start out with great motivation, and then I would get my first bad grade, and out the window went my motivation. Let's start to think about what helps us remember. Wow, looking at this pyramid, it becomes easy to understand why I remember some things better than others. Looking at the pyramid, we see this is all about learning modalities. That is, learning senses. They can be rather passive or active. In other words, let's think about your passive learning modalities first. 10% of what we read by seeing, we remember. 20% of what we hear through our auditory modality is what we remember. 30% of what we see visually is what we remember. Wow, very passive, because we're receiving information verbally and or visually. Notice that reading, hearing words, looking at pictures, that's all very passive. But notice what happens when we watch a movie. Now we've got two senses. 50% of what we see and hear, we remember. Oh, that explains the friend of mine who walks out of a movie and repeat to me the dialogue that we just watched in that movie. Boy, I can't remember one word of it. Well, now let's transition from passive to active. 70% of what we say, like participating in a discussion or giving a speech, that participation and actually doing improves our memory. 90% of what we say and do we will remember. So simulating a real experience or teaching others or doing the real thing like in a lab. Now, wow, that helps me understand how I remember. Isn't that something? Now you've completed the assessments in Chapter 1. Hopefully you've thought about your results. Come on, I don't just want you to do these things. I want you to be thinking about them. Think about your results in very practical ways. We all can't be highly motivated all the time, or enjoy reading everything, or manage our time efficiently all the time. These assessments are intended to help you understand your learning preferences, and during the course, you will use that information to help you be efficient and effective learners. All right, the first survey I'm talking about that you're going to be taking gets you to look at your learning modalities. Whether you see things, hear things, or do things, which is the strongest modalities for you in learning? Or are you more multi-modality? I have to do visual and auditory, or auditory and tactile, or auditory and kinesthetic. I am forever a multi-modality person. So when you take that survey, I want you to see if what you think about yourself is actually the way you test out. So right now you're probably thinking, so I'm multi-modality, or I'm a kinesthetic, or I'm an auditory. What difference does it make? If I'm in a class that is a straight lecture, I better have excellent auditory skills, particularly if I don't like to take notes. If not, I have to use my other skills, such as kinesthetic skills or tactile skills, to compensate by taking effective notes. Now I want you to look at this chart. If you're a visual learner, notice highlighting, color coding, or pictures are more important to you than reciting your notes or taping a lecture. So notice how, if you know your strongest modality, Then you will know the best ways for you to learn the material in your courses. Once you do the survey, come back to this chart and see if you can use some techniques that you have never used before. Now, the second survey that you're going to be taking will help you explain why you are better in math than in writing. How could you like or be better at music than science? Did you ever wonder why some disciplines or courses are easier than others? Your results may give you insight. Well, another one of the online surveys helps you determine what's called your multiple intelligences. There are 7 intelligences, and after each one, I have put some common department abbreviations for courses that capitalize on those skills. For example, if verbal is one of the intelligences that you have, then ETS or TRS or EDU or management or philosophy would be really good courses for you to investigate. It tells you that you're word smart. And these courses, these types of courses, are the kinds of courses that you will probably excel in. An easy way to remember your strengths is to look at the last comment on each line. See, I may be word smart, but forget music smart. Anticipate before you even take that survey, which would describe you. Remember, these are multiple intelligences, not just one for you. Where are your strengths? All right. Now the third survey. This survey we're going to take it because it helps you describe your personality style. Oops. What does that mean? You're going to get 4 letters after you take the survey. The kind of information is whether lectures are better for you or hands-on classes, whether studying alone is better for you or in groups, whether you have the personality where you need clearly defined goals and very structured assignments, or do you have the personality that is just as comfortable with far more flexibility? Notice your habits may be one thing, but there may be situations where you should take a risk and try something totally new. This chart will help explain all of those aspects in your personality that help you enormously in figuring out what strategies work best for you. Okay. So here's the whole course. The learner is you. You have control over not only yourself, but what actions or strategies you implement. The materials and the evaluation, that's what the professor controls. That's what they expect you to do, and you can't change their expectations. What we will do in this course is to help you first understand yourselves as learners, then how to take advantage of the materials and use your actions to be more successful on the evaluations the professor uses in your courses. Reflecting back on your previous learning experiences at the beginning of this video, let's look at some pearls of wisdom to keep in mind. 1. Relate new information to previous experience and previously learned knowledge. In other words, relate what you know with what you're learning. Reflect on the previous class as you build on the material in the next class. Makes learning so much easier. Note the key differences between and among material being presented. Look for similarities and differences. Practice the information in a way that the professor will assess. For example, if you're going to be getting an essay test, practice possible essay answers. Next, practice new information over time. Once is not enough. In other words, review frequently. Believe it or not, you are an academic athlete, so take your practice seriously. And finally, minimize distractions in order to maximize focus. No multitasking for you, or me, or anyone. Remember, this is all about getting to know you as the learner. Good luck.